Hank Linderman here. Thursday, October 22nd, 2020. And what a year it has been. Hey, I voted this morning. I don't have my stickers in my hand, but I voted this morning, and that was an experience. But the first thing I want to share with you is a video that I found this morning that's from an interview with Frank Luntz. And he's a Republican consultant. And I think this would be something that you might want to hear. I'm at the very end of the interview, but let's listen to it. Here you go.
Neglected how ugly their language had been. The idea of calling a Trump supporter deplorable? That's not happened before. Don't insult your opponent's supporters and just negate them and wash them aside. That's where we are right now, and that's where we're headed. And it's gonna really suck. And I don't want to live in a world like that.
And the cause of all this was
all of us. Do you not see that? In the questions that we are asked, in the answers that we give, in the language that I create, in the language, either in the words that Donald Trump uses or the words that Barack Obama should have used but didn't. One of them probably says too much. One of them probably didn't say enough. There was a common ground in this country on January 20th, 2009. And it wasn't quite what Barack Obama said it was, but it wasn't what the Republicans had said it was for the previous 8 years. There was somewhere in the middle. There was a common ground, and there's no common ground anymore. There's no center. I went into politics because someone had said to me when I was 17 years old that I was a great American. And it was Jim Buckley, and that made me so proud. Because I love this country and all that it stood for. And when people say that now, I don't think we're great now. This idea of make America great again, we're not great because of our economy. We were great because we had nice people who didn't hate, who would help those. You came here because of the Statue of Liberty. My family members who did not come to America because they weren't allowed to in 1941 were killed in the Ukraine in that execution. And I went there, and this is what happened because I realized what a... God, this is your fault.
Take a moment, because it's important, I think, what you're saying here.
Well, I think that is important. So that's Frank Luntz, who's a Republican consultant. And I haven't looked up specifically what Mr. Luntz stood for, but you can be sure it was things that we Democrats didn't like. And this is a fairly recent interview with him, and he is sharing some of the anguish that a lot of us face on our daily lives because our nation has become so divided. And there are a lot of causes to it. I'm just thinking out loud right now. Part of it is that our news media makes money the more attention they can get, paid to their site, and you do that with controversy. That's just one of the ways. Anyway, things have deteriorated at a tremendous amount in the United States, and but I'm going to give you some good news here today. The first thing I want to tell you is that people are tired fighting, I think. And in fact, I'm making efforts to find ways forward in the future to find a radio station or a television station that is willing to do a better job of actual dialogue between Republicans and Democrats, and even within the Democratic Party, establishment Dems and progressive Dems like me. We need to do a better job of talking to each other. And I think that that's partly going to be down to being willing to let go of our ideology a little bit. And I already try to do that. I try to say my ideology is my guide. It is not my goal. My goal is to solve problems, to fix things. We're all getting tired of this. Hi, I'm Hank Linderman. I'm running for Congress here in Kentucky's 2nd District. And like I say, I voted today. I went down to the courthouse in Grayson County, so in Litchfield. And unfortunately, it was in the basement, and people aren't really keeping a good distance between each other. They were wearing masks, but the line was a little slow. So I waited outside and asked someone to hold my place in line and let me know when I could come in and vote. So I was able to vote, and I, of course, voted for myself. I didn't feel funny voting for myself. And that's message number one, by the way. If you're a Democrat, get out there and vote. That's what it comes down to. I've got a lot of messages for you all today, and one of them is going to come from the Bulwark. And I so much to share with you, it's almost too much. Oh, before I forget, if you're in Breckenridge County or nearby tonight at the Breck at 5 p.m., the Breck restaurant in Breckenridge County, at 5 p.m., it's a Meet the Candidates. I will be there. I'll be a little bit late because I'm going to be on the air interviewing with Terry Miners. And if you don't know Terry Miners, Terry has the best job on earth. He's a professional conversationalist, sports geek, funny, friendly, wonderful guy. So I really enjoy talking with Terry. So I'll be talking with Terry on his show on 8:40 a.m., which is iHeartRadio. You'll see me reaching over here. I'm going to show you something. I've got a new toy, which is a teleprompter. And here's what the screen of it looks like. Notice that the writing is backwards, right, and upside down. Well, it shines up into a one-way mirror, that the camera is behind. So I'm looking right now at the print. So I'm going to be able to read to you that article from the Bulwark that I think will bring a lot of heart to you. But let's focus on our numbers. We got some work to do. Let's have a look at these dreadful numbers. We are pushing 230,000 deaths, 227,409. We had 1,225 new deaths, and tragic. And look at that, 63,800, 663. It's hard for me to see. New cases. Again, more cases than India that has 4 times our population. So we are maintaining our position at number 1. By the way, everybody, you know to share. Jenikin's here. Billy is here. Donna is here. Hi, Donna. Share, please. Mark Andes. Mark Andes is here. Pam is here. Yay. All right. So everybody, please share. It is important. Let's look at the new number 1 among the states. The state of Texas has now moved into number 1 in total cases with 889,513 cases. That's more than any other state. And remember that Texas is what? Compared to population-wise, not quite 30 million. California's not quite 40 million. And so Texas, unfortunately, is going there. Cindy Franklin says 973 new cases in South Dakota today. So that's really scary, really, really terrible. I want to dig in a little bit to Kentucky. Look at this. 21 new deaths yesterday, 1,452 new cases. I think that is the most amount of new cases that we've ever had, and that may be the biggest amount of new deaths. There's even some more information I'm going to share with you. This is total coronavirus deaths in Kentucky. Until this flattens out, of course, until we stop adding deaths, it's going to continue to rise, of course. But look, it's a very steady rise since the beginning of this. We're not really affecting this enough quite yet. Let's have a look at this one. This is active cases are increasing, the number of infected people. So just terrible. So everybody look, point of that is for you all to please really do a great job of taking care of yourself. Wear the mask, wash your hands, take whatever precautions you can, because you do not want to get this disease. And there's no knowing. I heard a story today of someone who brought their kids over to play with some other kids, and one of those other kids was sick. So now you got multiple families are locked down trying to take care of things. So look, it's up to you. Take care of yourself. watch out for this disease. We're heading into a really bad time this winter. So please be cautious. I was going to spend a whole bunch of time talking about the story related to Hunter Biden and the hard drive. And I've decided not to spend a lot of time on it. I'm going to show you a little bit. Here's the headline. I think this is from Politico. And Politico digs into this story pretty deeply. And some of the things just to bear in mind. The provenance of the laptop is questionable. The provenance of the hard drive is questionable. Rudy Giuliani's involvement is questionable. And even if what they say is true, the timing, of course, of it all is questionable. Even if what they say is true, it pales in significance to the shenanigans of the Trump family. So I think this is nothing more than distraction. I was going to spend some time and really dig into it, and I thought, no. If you want to dig into it, read that Politico article, and you'll enjoy it. You'll enjoy getting the details, but at a certain point, you've got to decide, who are you going to vote for here? You're going to vote for Donald Trump? I don't think this is why you would want to vote for Donald Trump or vote against Joe Biden. Joe Biden is no comparison. So Mark Maselli says, my brother and his wife drove to visit in-laws in eastern Kentucky last weekend, saw absolutely no one wearing a mask. Yeah, I spoke with a nurse practitioner last night. In fact, Alexandra Owensby, who's running in the 4th District against Thomas Massey. And Alexandra said, yes, indeed, the testing has slowed down. And she thinks that, she said the opinion she hears is that this looks like it's maybe gone too far to do much of anything about. She believes there are far more infections out there than we are aware of. We already know there's more deaths than we are counting, something like 75,000 more deaths. So, well, look, let's talk about some good news. And I want to show you this headline to a story that I'm going to read to you. Pardon me, I'm coughing because I was doing some burning today. Had a fire outside. But here's the article that I would, I could tell you all to please go read it, but the thing I would rather say is let me read it to you. This one's so important that I want you to, I do want you to read it. And bear in mind, remember I showed you that I've got the teleprompter. So I've taken the highlights of this article and I'm going to read it to you. And actually, here's how I'm going to do this. I'm going to do it that way. There you go. Hang on. There it is. So I'm going to move over, and this will be my first use of the teleprompter. Wisconsin is no longer doing contact tracing. Too many cases. Yeah, that's what happens when you have too many cases. Cat's out of the bag. You've got a whole other issue then to deal with. So these are the words of the author of the piece at the Bulwark. I keep asking you all, please, to check out the Bulwark. It's a conservative website. I'm a progressive populist. I like the Bulwark. I would talk with those guys. We would be friends. We'd argue. We'd have a good time. We'd have a good old time. All right. Well, here is the story from the Bulwark, if you all can bear to listen to it. Let's see if the teleprompter will keep up with me. It's supposed to do it automatically. I've spent a lot of my life, far too much in retrospect, waging war on the Democratic Party. It was my job and I was good at it. But in all those battles, why aren't you playing? Let's see if it's going to play. Oh, it's frozen. This is no good. This is no good. Let's see. We're going to try that again. Let's turn this back on. Oh, I'm so disappointed. We'll try this again. Hang on. Give me a sec. Technical difficulties. Here we go. This is getting better. Okay, there we go. I guess it froze up. My fault. Have to start it. I've spent a lot of my life, far too much in retrospect, waging war on the Democratic Party. It was my job and I was good at it, but in all those battles, even in the toughest of races, I never hated the other side. I wanted to win each race with the heat of 1,000 suns, and when I did lose, I found it sickening in a way that hung with me longer than any other victory. but I never feared for the country if the Democrats won. This year, for the first time in my life, I'm helping out the other side because I very much do fear for the country under an even more unrestrained Donald Trump. There are many good men and women in the Republican Party, but they have proven themselves to be smaller than the moment demanded. They stink of fear and desperation, and it breaks my heart to watch them flail around trying to convince the world and themselves that they are not who they have proven to be. I feel sadness. I feel pity, but not remorse. Today's Republicans are not worthy of the great legacy they inherited. When grown men and women refuse to denounce a man who boasts he did not rape a woman because, quote, she was not my type, any semblance of public good has been lost. I can't direct the Republican Party to the lost and found where it might reclaim its soul, but I do know that defeat, while not sufficient, is necessary in order for it to embark on that journey. It's a strange feeling to be working on the side of those for whom that you fought against for so long. Often in winning campaigns, and the Democrats are winning this campaign, there comes a giddy sense of satisfaction when you near the end. I feel none of that. For me, there is no joy in working against my former tribe. I think the experience must be a little like having been a member of the 1st Alabama Cavalry, the soldiers from the Deep South who remained loyal to the Union. General Sherman relied on them as his personal escort. I suspect it was because he knew they had made a bitter choice that pitted them against friends and family, and once that line was crossed, they could not flinch, seeing the task through to completion. So it is with those of us who are, or once were, Republicans, now fighting against Trump and Trumpism. Having spent decades attacking the Democratic Party, I don't approach your party with any illusions about it being perfect, but I am convinced that the Democratic Party has remained far truer to aspirational American values than the compromised moral disgrace that is the party which endorsed Roy Moore and welcomes the dangerous lunacy of QAnon. I am proud to be helping a good and decent man like Joe Biden, and I welcome the future that is represented by Senator Harris. The Biden operation is running a superb campaign, disciplined and mature. To launch as a front runner and stumble as badly as the Biden campaign did in the primary, there's tremendous pressure to change the candidacy in some dramatic and almost inevitably unsuccessful way. The vice president and his campaign didn't go down that path. They decided to win or lose with who Joe Biden is, and damn if they didn't win. The most vulnerable moment for any challenger facing an incumbent president is the period immediately after securing the nomination, when you are broke and trying to build a national organization out of a series of state races you were fighting just a few weeks earlier. In all of modern politics, the Biden campaign is the only campaign that actually jumped out to a lead against an incumbent during this tenuous time. Even given all of this success in a race where Biden has held a steady and sizable lead, I sense a strange lack of confidence with Democrats, as if they've been juggling eggs for most of a marathon and can't believe they actually might cross the finish line in first place. In these last 2 weeks, I would plead with Democrats, that's you, I hope, and me, I would plead with Democrats to change that mindset and banish your timidity. If I ran the Democratic Party, here's what I'd be telling my troops. We are going to crush Donald Trump and the sickness he represents. There are more of us than there are of them. We are right. They are wrong. This is our moment. This is our destiny. Walk with confidence. Do not falter. Victory will be ours. That sounds terribly overconfident, and a lot of Democrats can't shake the nagging sense that overconfidence was one of the horsemen of the Trump's 2016 apocalypse. But this is actually a misreading of history. It wasn't overconfidence that hurt Hillary Clinton. It was a lack of urgency. The inability to imagine Donald Trump has always been one of his great advantages. Republican primary opponents couldn't imagine that a bankrupt casino owner who talked in public about having sex with his daughter could win the Republican nomination. Many general election voters considered it an impossibility that America would elect Donald Trump, and so they didn't bother voting, or they voted for third-party candidates in what they thought was a safe protest. But we don't need to imagine Donald Trump anymore. We've seen the elephant. We can't stop seeing it, no matter how much we want to. Trump has dominated our public life, and intruded in our lives. One of the great virtues of a civil society with a functioning democracy is the ability to not think about politics. Trump has robbed us of that right because he has brought our democracy to the brink. So, to my Democratic friends, let us go forward in this final stretch with the confidence that our mission is vital and our opponent is weak. Do not hesitate to swagger. These last 2 weeks belong to you. Years from now, you will look back on these last days as some of the best in your lives. An evil was unleashed in the country that you love, and you rose to smite it. You will slay this dragon. Trump is collapsing, and his allies of convenience are panicked. Now is when you turn a victory into a rout. We are all tired, but the other side isn't just tired. They are frightened and confused, as they should be, because they are losing the fight for the soul of this country, and they know it. Democrats, victory is near. Yeah. All right, everybody, look, our job is, sorry about that. There we go. Our job is to vote. Our job is to make sure our friends vote. Our job is to show up. But vote, vote, vote. Get everyone you know out to vote. Do whatever you need to do. I can't wait for the time when we are finished with this time in our history. And I am looking forward to the times that we can have as friends, Republicans and Democrats being friends. I can't wait for that time. And I know it's coming. I've already started to have some of those times with friends of mine that are Republicans. So let's all do the right things as Americans. Make sure you get out to vote. I don't care how old you are, how young you are, you have got to get out to vote. All right. I'm going to talk to you all tomorrow. I'm so glad to be able to speak with you every single day. It's really an honor. Remember, when you're getting angry, don't be a damn fool. Use that anger to focus yourself, to focus your determination and your courage to do the thing that you know needs to be done. Get out there and vote. You know I love you. Talk to you later. See you tomorrow.
Just a damn minute.